It's estimated that over 21 million people have seen this near viral video. Have you? Well, I've just updated it with the 5 critical triggers that could save your family from disaster, so you need to see this right now. Let's face it, if you're watching this video, then you're probably the undeclared hero in your household. In other words, if the it hits the fan, your family will look to you to provide safety and comfort. So let me ask you, do you have the 37 items sold out after a crisis? If you don't, you may be too late. How will you explain to your loved ones that you didn't take these simple steps and you don't have the food and other critical items needed to survive? And don't play the "it won't happen here" card. That's total BS. We've seen how weather is getting crazier and the world is becoming less stable. It won't take much to set off the mobs of people emptying store shelves of the critical items your family will need. But you're not going to see this reported on CNN, NBC, or even Fox News. This is breaking news that you're only going to get here, so listen closely. At the 2-minute mark of this video, you will find out exactly how deep the conspiracy goes. And here's a hint. It's a lot deeper than most people think. So here it is. Underground U.S. disaster experts have uncovered 5 unstoppable triggers pushing America to the brink of disaster. This confirms there's a perfect storm of disasters brewing fast. Trigger number 1. It's easier than ever for rogue terrorists, drug cartels, and foreign threats to cross our borders. The Boston Marathon bombing is a great example of just how exposed we are. Trigger number 2. Tensions with North Korea could boil into a nuclear bloodbath at any moment, and Iran isn't far behind. Negotiating with psychopathic dictators bent on hurting U.S. citizens is a no-win situation. Eventually, something has to give. Trigger number 3. Government control and civil unrest. As U.S. citizens, we're losing our rights and privacy faster than any other time in history. Gun legislation, the Patriot Act, talk of controlling the internet. The government is cramping down on our civil liberties at an unprecedented rate. When I recently surveyed my top 100,000 customers, I wasn't surprised to see government control and civil unrest as the #1 fear. The growing fear of civil unrest makes sense. We've seen what happens in Europe when you take away free stuff like entitlement services from the people. And if this is finally the year the U.S. starts to see massive food inflation and food shortages, you can bet there will be anger in the streets. Civil unrest could be the new norm. That's just the tip of the iceberg. We'll get to the other 2 triggers in a second. See, every day more and more concerned patriots are picking up on what's going on around us. You've probably known for a long time something big was coming. Well, you're not the only one. Out of the 21 million people who have already watched this video, many have started prepping for the disaster. It's common sense. As America wakes up, prepping is becoming the norm. Network news stations talk about prepping, and FEMA has ad campaigns on stocking food, water, and batteries. Not to mention prime-time TV shows like Doomsday Preppers. I've seen survival gear in Sharper Image stores, Target, and many other places. And of course, you can always buy your emergency food buckets at Costco. But here's the problem. Most people are spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on the wrong things. There are actually just 37 critical food items you need to survive any disaster. And it's urgent you find out what those 37 items are now. Because once a disaster hits, it'll be too late to get them. Grocery stores carry less than a 3 to 4 days supply of food. And this is gone in just minutes when the mobs of unprepared people rush to the stores at just the hint of a pending crisis. Now, in case you don't know me, my name is Damian Campbell. And over the past 3 years, my sole mission has been to prepare America to survive this perfect storm of disasters. It started out with sharing the stockpiling blueprint with close friends here in Colorado. But the demand for my list of the 37 critical items seemed to spread like wildfire. Once word got out, thousands of people per week all across the U.S. were claiming their copy of the stockpiling blueprint. Now we have customers in over 40 different countries. Oddly enough, this has gotten a lot of media attention too. My call to arms has been seen on stations like Newsmax, Town Hall, Personal Liberty, and Fox News, to name a few. The news spread quickly, and as of today, over 220,000 people have received the list of 37 critical items to hoard. Now it's your turn to get your hands on it. And you'll get the most updated list, version 4.2. After 3 years, I've gone back and updated this list of 37 crucial items. And from the feedback I'm getting, this is the best version of this blueprint yet. This letter came from Brenda F., Mount Dora, Florida. Love that someone out there is actually providing true facts regarding what we face here in this country and how I can make sure my family survives. Thank you, Damien. This is what you need to know before the "it" hits the fan, writes Randall G., Winnipeg, Canada. I thought it was excellent. I am a 23-year disaster services volunteer for the American Red Cross and have dealt with many horrific disasters. Valerie H., North Attleboro, Massachusetts. And the timing couldn't be better. Not only is our country facing terror threats, war with Korea, and a civil liberty lockdown, it's got two more near unstoppable crisis triggers looming. The fourth trigger is our own sun. The sun has spawned some powerful solar flares, rocketing toward the Earth at more than 600 miles per second. And NASA predicts it's less than 14.7 turns away from launching an unstoppable coronal mass ejection that can send billions of tons of solar particles hurtling straight toward the Earth, affecting satellites and even damaging our electrical grid. Imagine living with no electricity for a few months. And the fifth and final trigger is one the entire world has noticed. Mother Nature has gone haywire. Mutant superstorms and hurricanes such as Irene and Sandy have smashed through cities, turning its residents into mobs of powerless people. Then you have droughts and rapid spreading fires that have raged across the U.S., and flooding has destroyed countless homes and even families. I hate to say this, but you haven't seen anything yet. Experts are saying this is just the beginning, and we can expect more weather disasters with greater intensity going forward. Now, these 5 triggers aren't the only threats America is facing. They're just the more well-known. We don't have time to get into the mountain of possible disasters, aging infrastructure, debt default, and cyber attacks that could hit. What you've got to understand is with